The member for Corangamite.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Trade, Tourism and Investment. What contribution does the construction industry make to Australia's tourism industry? Is the Minister aware of any threats to this contribution?
The Minister for Trade and Investment.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Corangamite for her question, because I know the member for Corangamite has a deep passion for Australia's tourism industry. There are some 3,600 people in her electorate that are directly employed in Australia's tourism industry, and of course an array of others that benefit from the construction industry and the tourism industry succeeding in her electorate. I note that international visitor arrivals into her electorate are growing faster than domestic arrivals, up 45% compared to 42%. And spending by international tourists is up by some 74% in the last 3 years, so that the total tourism spending in Geelong now represents some $541 million. Now, there can be no doubt that the member for Corangamite has led the charge with respect to the growth of the tourism industry, but also the construction industry. A clear-eyed vision about the benefits that can flow from regional Australia for Australia's tourism industry. But I note, though, that she also asked a question in relation to threats to Australia and to our policy as a result of the contribution made by the construction and tourism industry. And I've got to say that it was revealing, Mr Speaker, revealing last week to see some of the commentary, and in particular a video that just demonstrates how beholden the Australian Labor Party is to Australia's trade union movement. We saw just last week senior CFMEU officials, including the National President Joe McDonald and the WA Assistant State Secretary Graham Pallett. And what were they saying, Mr Speaker? They were happy to say on video that they will put in Labor members of parliament who will support the scrapping of the ABCC, and if they don't, if those opposite don't support the scrapping of the ABCC, what did they say on video? They'll replace them. That's what they said, and that's the threat that hangs on the head of every Labor member opposite, the threat of being replaced. And unfortunately, we see examples of that happening. Just up there in the backbenches, the member for Wills. He was, of course, imposed by the AWU. Now, the locals didn't want, with all due respect to the member for Wills, the locals didn't want him representing him. No, they would rather have, in fact, former senator and long-time local Mehmet Tillman. But what did the AWU do? They imposed someone from the other side of Melbourne with no connections whatsoever to the electorate, thrust him in, shoehorned him into the seat. Why? Because I'm sure when they say the time has come for him to walk away from the ABCC, he will, just like every other member opposite who know that their pre-selection is dependent upon doing the bidding of their union masters.
The member